Within the proximity of IIT Delhi is another coaching hub in Kalusarai. Now, we all have been talking about the guidelines that has been released by the Government of India, the Education Ministry, on the coaching centers. Now, here, there are a number of owners of the coaching centers who have in fact been saying that these guidelines, more or less, have in fact been released or are in fact make sense for Kota coaching centers or coaching centers in Hyderabad. But when it comes to Delhi, Mumbai, these guidelines are not really making sense. In fact, is redundant and is more confusing. So here I'm joined by a number of such owners of the coaching center. I will start with Mr. Keshav Agarwal here. So first of all, you in fact said that these guidelines are redundant for Delhi or Mumbai coaching centers, but makes more sense for Kota. Why do you think that?
See, if you read the guidelines, they have norms that off should be given. Now, Delhi, you will not find any coaching center teaching 7 days a week or 6 days a week. It is 2 days or at the most 3 days a week. So that is not there. You will not find these residential facilities in Delhi as such that students staying. Whereas you go to Kota, more than coaching centers, you will find hostels out there. Those who are doing this work, because the entire economy of Kota runs on this coaching center, students staying there. And then the counselors required. Why do you require counselors for a handful of students? It is only when in large numbers. So when you go to Kota, you will find thousands of students studying, having mental stress, and they do need psychologists and all to actually get out of the stress. So the provisions which are made are more with the study of Kota, where the suicides took place, and then they become a big news, and it was government which was just willing to come out with something to solve this problem. But I don't feel that taking out these guidelines will solve this problem, but it will give rise to corruption. More stress it will be created. And now, since the provision says below 16 years cannot take coaching, I mean, that is something beyond my understanding. How can you, barge into the fundamental rights of someone? And this is something they do by choice. Had it been that coaching is compulsory, then that is a different issue. Here it is by choice. They come, they study. So you have to make something. Yes, they are going to coaching during school hours, missing the school, taking a dummy school. That is not acceptable. Why don't you finish off the dummy schools? It is under your nose they are running. But then when they come in the evening where they require assistance, their parents are working or they are very weak, how can you just take everybody under the same blanket and tell ki sabke liye ban ho gaya? So that is something which these guidelines definitely have a problematic thing. Apart from that, here, what it failed to take into account is very surprising. After COVID, online has become a major coaching. And they have not mentioned anything about it. How will you control online? There is no provision you can control online that you will not teach them. And online, like Khan Academy teaches from US. So will you stop Khan Academy? It is not possible.
So there is no guideline per se for the online coaching that is happening, and there are a number of online coaching where they take fees, they take money from.
Like one point I'll say, though, this is something they said he should be a graduate. Now talk of Mr. Alak Pandey. He got, I think, more than 700 crore funding, and he dropped in the second year. So I mean, they are trying to regulate the timings, the doubt who will take. Batch kaun padhayega. So these are nitty-gritties you cannot go and monitor also. Why are you writing these things? And ultimately you are creating stress because the exams like JEE Advanced, which filter student to another level, when you are taking JEE Main, 2 lakh students have taken and they will take advanced. Now you introduce that level, and that is where the stress comes to them. So why don't you try to filter that? You introduce CUET to reduce stress. Today CUET has increased the stress. Students have to just go to coaching because many of the topics which come there are not taught at the school level. And I can tell you all the aptitude topics are not taught at any level. So they have to go. So what are you doing? The Northeast students, the tribal students, they don't get access to internet and they are actually out of CUET.
One of the crucial point in the guideline, I think with all of you disagree, is how the students need to be, above 16 to take the coaching classes. When we talk about these students, just for our viewers, if you could make us understand, what is really roughly the age, the average age with the students come for the coaching, and how it's going to impact you and your coaching center?
See, the students, start preparing for the special, competitive examinations, be it Olympiad, NTSE, and various, competitive examination from class 9th onwards. Now, when you talk about when you talk about the age group of 16th, so 16th is when the student is, either cleared 11th or probably in middle of, 11th. So you are basically, taking the right of the child to prepare for a special examination, so that, he is able to, make his foundation stronger by going to a special, trainers. Now, if the special and quality teaching was available in any of the formal school education system or in the colleges, probably the coaching probably would not have been there. Why the coaching institutes exist today is because our system has failed to provide the quality teaching and the professional teachers, who can guide the students of various age groups for the kind of high competition which you have in various competitive examination. That is why the coaching institutes are there. The most challenging part in this guideline is that the government have failed to take anybody's view. There is no coaching owner or stakeholders who have been called. There has to be an equal participation.
Stakeholders should have been.
So they have not consulted the stakeholders either in this guidelines or in the previous kind of things. I really do not know why the coaching institutes are always seen with a negative impact. And the word like the coaching culture has to be this thing. Dhanda chala rahe hain. All those things are they are really very very sad. However, the coaching is doing. Ask the students who have been successful in various competitive examinations. I have seen myself going to various departments where the people who are at a senior level, even the IAS, IPS, they come out the way they say, sir, we are here today because of Made Easy or whatever the institute. If the coaching institute was not there, probably I would not have been made it to my kind of things. So we are helping the students in fulfilling their dreams. However, I really don't know why most of the people don't see coaching with that positive kind of a thing.
The reason that the government is saying that such guidelines is being issued is because of the increasing suicide cases that are being seen in the country, especially the children or the students who are in fact preparing themselves for the competitive exams. Secondly, a number of fire incidents that have occurred in different parts of the country, especially in these coaching centers which are in narrow lanes. So all these have in fact been worrisome, and that is why these guidelines have come. How do you see the increase in the suicide cases? Do you think bringing such a guideline can actually make a difference in such cases, in fire incidents or the suicide cases that are increasing in the country?
If you talk about the suicides, suicides were always there, will always be there. We can reduce the stress level, but the stress will never go away. Once upon a time, 30 years ago, class 9th and 10th together used to come in the board exams. They reduced that to class 10. 2015, prior to that, if you look at the NCERT books, they had most of the class 11 chapters in class 10 itself. They reduced that. Then when we come to class 11, now in the new system, if you look at a subject like chemistry, most of the topics have been removed. In class 12, till last year, there were 15 chapters. Now there are only 10 chapters. So we reduced the syllabus, but did we reduce the stress is a question mark. Because we have not reduced the stress. Now the child has to learn less. उस ज़माने में भी स्ट्रेस था बच्चों को जब 9th and 10th साथ में देना पड़ता था, कंपटीशन के लिए प्रिपेयर करना पड़ता था. उस ज़माने में भी ट्यूशन था. If we talk about tuition, tuition is not a new thing. It has been a guru shishya thing from ages. It's an Indian culture. The shishya used to go.
आपके पास कुछ points भी थे. If you could mark the point, tell me the points in which you feel that there should be more clarity when it comes to the guideline.
In paragraph number 4, the definition of a coaching institute and coaching. That is an ambiguous point wherein they say 50 students. Now, in a coaching institute, students join different courses. They come at different durations of time period or different days. So how can we club them? How many students are there?
Take the subject and then,
Then another one is, you said school level, academics. What about the extracurricular and co-curricular activities that go on together with school, like the competitive exams at school level? We are just talking about IIT and NEET and etc. But there are other competitive exams that the children prepare for, the Olympiads, the KVYPs, the NTSEs, where the robotic challenges, the declamation challenges, the speech challenges, or students going for cricket for national levels, playing for the school. So are we going to stop that, or is it only for academics, that is maths, science, English, social science, Hindi, Sanskrit, etc., etc.? The next one is, if we come to paragraph 6, point number 1, B and D, what is the definition of misleading promises and advertisements?
But there are a number of advertisements that have been put by the coaching center, which the government believes that it is misleading the students.
Exactly. You need to have a proper guideline in that. We are saying we are in favor of the guidelines. It is a very good step by the government so that they can root out the evil of the coaching centers. But it is not that everyone is evil. 1% of evil you'll find in every kind of work. 1% of evil we also are saying is there in our kind of work. But 99% are good.
Okay.
So there will be misleading advertisements. I'll give you an example. A gives his advertisement as our toppers, 100 out of 100, 100 out of 100, 100 out of 100. He is right. He is true. They are toppers from his institute. B says he is false. Why? Because he published 2022's result and not 2023 result. How are you going to define that? Topper to topper hai. So what is a misleading advertisement?
More clarity need to come in that. We have seen what happened in Mukherjee Nagar. We know how clammed up these centers are. These are into narrow lanes. It actually is dangerous when we talk about such coaching centers. So don't you think that it is high time that there should have been, in fact, a guideline, a crackdown on these centers?
Yeah, this is a valid point you raised, but why is it so? Government has been seeing this coaching not today, it's been for I think 40, 50 years, and they have been coming up like anything. They should have taken them into consideration and issue, some institutional lands where all coaching centers function at a place and the students also get a proper ambience. But now, since nothing happened, hubs like Mukherjee Nagar, Karol Bagh, Patel Nagar, Kalu Sarai, they all came up on their own and no one bothered about that. Now, I'm not saying that this is the root cause, but if you see all the fire incidents so far which has taken place in Delhi, apart from coaching also, it is due to the faulty meters. The BSES, they will increase the amount when your load increases, but they will never change the meter. And when it is on the passage, then the fire happens, you cannot walk out. Okay. So if they put it outside, then most of the fires can be prevented, in the sense the casualties can be done. But what is happening is nobody is going to take them on. You always pick up the soft targets and you target them. Why don't they target the fire, this BSES and NDPL Tata companies, that you put your things right? So that is not done. Yes, number of students which they have said is a little more, but then they should also define कि in a space कितने बैठ सकते हैं और उतने ही बैठे. So those things should be done, but it should not be done in such a way that कि you make very less people sit in such a place and the cost goes up. You see the places like Delhi, Mumbai, the rents are exorbitant and the cost passes to students. So we are trying to make it affordable too, so that everyone gets. So it's not only for the rich. It has to percolate down to the poor who do not get the facility, but through coaching, they become what they want to. So, fire is one of incident which can happen anywhere. That doesn't mean you close. Now, suicides. IIT Kharagpur, IIT Mumbai, they have suicides. So should we close down IIT Kharagpur? The director was charged. So you see this, you go to the root cause, try to do, you are just trying to eliminate someone who is not the root cause. Sit. And we also don't want students to commit suicide. Our aim is to make them get what they want. And in all this, there is a competition. So obviously coaching centers compete, students compete, but here we have to come with a fair guideline. in a constructive way, making us a part, and also we can be, useful to them in giving education to the poor. We may keep 25% seats from them. If government gives us some assistance in terms of land and facilities, we would also give back, so that all of us work in a very synergy and that atmosphere, rather than being, painting us as villains. Coaching is this. Even, as I'll say, media also, when it comes, most of us write negative. But then you have to see all aspects. There was a movie, 12th Fail, and it was based on Mukherjee Nagar, those IAS institutes, aspirations. So you have to take the talent and everybody, and then this will go. And this fire incidents definitely will reduce if we have the proper safety norms in place.
Okay.
In
So,
fact, the school infrastructure is available, but now there are probably some guidelines that in these schools you cannot run the coaching institutes. Otherwise, if you allow the coaching to be conducted, because that is an after-school activities, there is so much infrastructure available in the colleges, in the schools. Why don't the government kind of give that facility?
accommodate in
Yeah,
the school
yeah.
itself. Okay. So, clearly they all have in fact been saying that it's a very vague when it comes to these guidelines. The root cause need to be identified, and these guidelines cannot be vague. Now, you are, a member of the association of the coaching center. So, what is going to be all of your next step? Will you be following this right away? Whatever the guideline has been given, will you be trying to speak to the government? What is going to be the next course of action?
Yeah, first thing is we are going to speak to the government. I'm the president of Coaching Federation of India, and I had always taken initiative in trying to speak to the officials before I take any legal steps. First thing is to understand what is the mindset, because they have not included us prior to making such regulations. And even in the High Court, we have filed our viewpoints in the case of Mukherjee Nagar. We had put our this thing. We do self-regulation. We have come out with you can see the fire norms existing already. So we are predominantly, most of the institutions, big institutions, have followed suit in keeping all the fire thing in place and ensure that students get what we exist because of the students.
All right.
Why would we be so careless? Or we can't take this very normally.
Okay.
Coaching is a very serious work.
So before I wrap up, I just quickly want to ask you both. Now it says that if a student, for example, a 9th standard student was enrolled in your respective coaching centers, and they have in fact now, according to the guideline, they have decided that they have to step back and they are going to ask the money back, and within 10 days you have to refund. What is going to be the process? Will you go ahead and do that? What is there in your mind?
See, refund is a good thing, but then you understand. If a child is coming and after 1 month he doesn't understand and he wants to take a refund, he should be given. But after 8 months he says that he's not following, then you can understand the intention that the course is over and he wants to take back the money.
But now it's the rule. So what are you going to do? Now the rule line, the guideline has come.
It will be practically almost impossible to run a business because you have a recurring expenses and pre-planned expenses towards the salaries of your staff, teachers, rentals, advertisement, everything. And the business is always run that, I'm going to get that kind of a revenue. So if your revenues are being disturbed and if you have a guideline, that within 10 days, whenever the student feels, he's not satisfied or, he wants to refund the fees, it is practically not possible. And there are so many good, institutes who have, probably 2 parts kind of things. So there would be many students who will do the main course and then they say, I want a refund. I will do this course somewhere else or I'll do my self-study. So I would not be able to run a viable business.
So in conclusion,
we already have, most of the coaching institute do have a refund policy and it should be practically genuine kind of a thing. Within 15 days, within a month's time. You can't say that after 6 months a student is saying, I want a refund.
So what I want to say in this, like if there is a refund policy in advance, before joining that this is the refund policy. Now it's your choice whether to accept that refund policy and join or not. See, refund policy hona theek hai, it is a necessary thing. But now you are enforcing that within 10 days without knowing the case, you have to give refund. That is wrong. And if a refund policy is there, and your case is being heard as per that, your grievance, then that settles the thing, which every company has.
लेकिन अभी तो आपके अगर कोचिंग सेंटर में अब तो 9th स्टैंडर्ड के स्टूडेंट आ नहीं सकते हैं, तो 10th स्टैंडर्ड के स्टूडेंट आ नहीं सकते, तो अब आप क्या करेंगे?
See, अब क्या है?
अब आप will you follow it right away or?
No, still these are guidelines which will take another 3 months, and there are a lot, and if required they have to be challenged in court. They will be challenged in court also, because they are violation of fundamental rights and other things, because it is affecting entire India. Now what government, state government comes out, what policies they have, there are a lot of things to be seen, and in this the cost of student will go up. What happens is, when you take a yearly fees, it's a discounted package. When you will do it monthly, it is going to increase the cost. अब मंथली होगा तो रिफंड का काम ही नहीं होगा. You study, you pay before that month, and then you go, but then your cost will go 1.5 times. So it's going to hit the pocket of parents ultimately. So that is one thing this policy will do. If you are forced to do that, you are forced to increase the cost. You will cover up in a way. You will not give the discount. So when the student leaves, he will be at loss.
So very crucial points here have in fact been made as far as these guidelines are concerned. Clearly, they have been saying that these are vague. More detailed discussion need to be held. The stakeholders need to be involved. And clearly, they also have been saying that they will in fact be, if needed, will be speaking to the government and will be approaching the court. Because as far as these guidelines are concerned, these at the moment doesn't seem to be practical for the coaching center.